we're just going to go ahead and license the second user as well. So you go to users, active users, select the user, that is in this case test user 2, and then you go to licenses and apps. So in the case of this particular user, we are going to go for separate voice features, unlike in the case of the first user where we went for Microsoft 365 business voice. In the case of this particular user, we will go for Microsoft Teams phone standard. And remember, we indicated earlier that before now the Microsoft Teams phone standard was known as Microsoft 365 phone system, but we will go for the domestic calling plan as well. And over here, instead of business premium, we will go for business standard. This is just to show you that regardless of the license that you choose, once you have Microsoft Teams as part of its service, you are good to go. We will save this. Let me just quickly show you this as well. You remember when we were talking about the licenses that are required, we indicated that you can go for 3 different license combinations. The first one being any business subscription, and then Microsoft 365 business voice. The second option that we have is any business subscription plus Microsoft Teams phone standard plus Microsoft 365 domestic calling plan, or any business subscription in addition to Microsoft Teams phone standard and Microsoft 365 domestic and international calling plan. So you can choose in between the domestic and international calling plan depending on the destination you would want to call. And then finally, Microsoft 365 E5 plus any of the calling plans. This is what exactly we are doing here. We're just going to go ahead and save this. Now let's check something. You remember we tried checking this very users Teams app earlier to see if dial pad has been enabled for the user, but that was not successful at the time. So we're just going to go back and we will open Teams, and then we go to the call tab. Here we go. So the dial pad has been enabled, but you don't see any phone number. The reason is because we've not assigned any phone number to this particular user here. And so even though this user is having a dial pad, the user will still not be able to dial up or receive calls from the PSTN world. The license requirement has been met, the user has been successfully enabled for enterprise voice, but then something is still missing. We are going to check with PowerShell as well how you will know that the user has enterprise voice enabled, but then there is no phone number assigned. We are just going to go ahead and license our next user, which is test user 3, and I will show you through PowerShell why we are doing this. And this time around, we are just going to assign business basics and let's say Microsoft Teams phone standard without a calling plan. Okay, this is just to demonstrate something to you. So we are just going to go ahead and save this.